welcome to Ian, everyone. I'm Meg, you all know me. I'm super grateful that you guys are here. So for those of you who are watching this on my Facebook group, Movement and Mindfulness with Megs, thank you so much for being a part of this group. I'm building this, of course, over time, and just sharing content on how movement has helped me evolve so much into being present and appreciating everything that I'm doing in the moment for what it is. Letting go of the perfection, letting go of the striving, letting go of reaching a goal, and actually really landing to a space where I'm like, fuck, this is awesome just the way it is right now. And for me, that was really getting out of exercise and getting out of going and being on the treadmill and just being in this linear fashion, just going to mindless classes and just pushing weights or burning calories on the bike. And it actually really brought me into my body when I started practicing movement and I started to play. I started to have so much gratitude for the skin that I was in, which was something I never used to have. And that with the combination of yoga, and yoga of course teaches us presence, has really allowed me to just be so thankful that I do have 2 feet and a heartbeat, that I'm human and I've got this body right now that I can play in without the need for more. So it's really about landing into the space of now, and especially right now with what's going on in the world, the only place that we can really be is now. There's no point worrying about what's going to happen next week or when we come out of lockdown or whatever. It's totally irrelevant. It is just about being the best person we can be in this moment, and that brings us back to love. Love and acceptance of ourselves just the way we are. We may as well start to practice that, and of course that's exactly what my book's all about, What's Your Language. So yin, yoga and movement are a huge part of that. So that's what you can find, of course, on this page, which is Movement and Mindfulness with Megs. So thank you for being here. And of course, if you're dropping in for a casual, it's just $10 a class. If you are practicing all of the 3 strength classes and the 3 yoga classes a week that are on this page, it's just an honesty system. So the details are in the about section where my account details are. Just put your name and of course, whether it be $20 for the week or $10 for a single session, that's up to you. As I said, it's just an honesty system. I just want to give to you what has helped me so much. Move from someone who is so judgmental of their body and comparing to everything around who are never feeling enough, to moving into this state of presence, of really accepting where I'm at. And these are the practices that have helped me do that. So I just love to share. So we are going to do this practice of yin based on the season. So we're of course moving into spring. Now the reason why I'm teaching this class now instead of the regular time at 7:30 is because I am actually detoxing tomorrow. So I do a 3-day water fast. I've been doing that for quite a while at the break of the seasons. But we really need to clear out toxicity in our bodies and our minds, which builds up, and there's been a hell of a lot of that goes on at the moment. So this is, for me, I need to sort of really set up my night and get my headspace in the game for what I'm doing tomorrow. So, but I really recommend, if you're thinking about detoxing, maybe just take a day of fasting or quit alcohol for the month, or just do something good for you. Like, we are entirely up to us. No one else can do it for us. Not at all. It is our choice and our decision to do that. So I really encourage you to look at doing something that you can help benefit your health, especially at this time. So we are actually going to start our practice with some deep breath work. So I invite that you grab a block. So you will definitely need a block and a bolster or a cushion for this practice tonight. Most people have that. If you've got a furry friend like this one, grab that too. This is Lily, in case you haven't met her before. She might join us for the practice today. So wherever you are, take a deep breath in. And an open mouth exhale, let it go. Breathe in fully for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 5. Exhale. 5. Please continue on your own. I want you to think of 3 hours when you're breathing. So when you breathe in, expand the belly, expand the rib cage, expand the lungs. Exhale, deflate the lungs, deflate the rib cage, deflate the belly. And keep going. Breathe in. Breathe out. I invite you to now sit with this for the next 2 minutes. I'm going to be silent so that you can just be still and breathe. All you need to do now is land into this space. Give yourself the permission for this time and let yourself receive. Five more deep breaths. One more full breath in. And a full breath out. Gently opening your eyes, give yourself a little bit of a smile. As we start to move into the spring sequence, the element of this sequence is wood, and the organs that we're working on in the traditional Chinese medicine arrangement in our bodies is, of course, the liver and the gallbladder in this sequence tonight. So we are actually going to start in a dangle. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to let go. I like to use a block. Some people really like to use a bolster and a block on top. Please listen to what you need to do for your body. So I've got the bolster here in front of me, and I'm resting the block on top. Now it depends how tight your hamstrings are. We actually want to try to have straight legs for this one. So you might need to put the block on a higher height to work with this. So specifically for this dangle, we are working straight legs, and you can bend your elbows, but we don't want to pull too much into the hamstrings. If you really feel you need to bend your knees, then bend your knees, but we want to try to work this one with straight legs. So finding the space that works for you here, holding on to or just resting your hands on the block and just letting your spine melt down. We are not forcing this. And you should feel this right down the posterior chain into the hamstrings, right down almost to the calves. So we're starting to let the spine just hang to find space between each of the vertebrae. And just let go. So of course, as we move into the season of spring, spring is a sense of expansion, and it gives us the opportunity to now start to nurture and grow the seeds that we have planted in winter. You know, the seeds of our dreams, the seeds of our goals, the seeds of our affirmations, our wishes, our desires. It is a beautiful season to start to develop and start to bring in that fire, a little bit more heat, a little bit more warmth, a little bit more light, a little bit more play into our lives. As we move from a relatively stuck and stagnant season of winter, of nurturing, of resting, of pausing, to now starting to water that garden. It's really, really important to not overstimulate or overwater that seed-like potential. It's really important to not overdo, to be faced with overwhelm or be too busy in this season. Lao Tzu says in the Tao Te Ching that everything in nature is accomplished, yet nothing is hurried. If we force our seedlings to grow, or if we overwater them or expect too much, then just like in nature, we won't allow the plant to grow. It'll drown, it'll get overwatered, and we miss the opportunity. It's about trusting the process, surrendering the outcome, and trusting that things will unfold exactly as they're meant to. If things are feeling forced through this season, then the universe is probably telling you there's another way. So I invite you to sit with what's here, to learn to practice patience, to let go of the busyness, the overwhelm, the need to be doing more, and allow yourself to sit back in a place of ease, surrender, and yield to the journey that will unfold for you when we get out of the way. We're going to be spending another minute and a half here in this pose. If you need to back it off a little, back it off. Do your best to let go. Yin yoga is about softening. There is no gripping on, there is no forcing, there is no muscular activity. Let your head be heavy, let your bones be heavy. Soften the skin on your face. Just let go. Taking 3 more beautiful breaths here. Breathe in, breathe out. To come out of this, please support yourself. Walk your feet wide and just gently come down to a squat. If you need to put the bolster or block underneath your bum to support you here, please do. We're just going to be here for 5 breaths to counter where we were. So just pause. Breathe in, breathe out. From here, slowly just make your way down to the ground and just lie onto your back. So we're going to take a rebound from that pose. very, very gently just finding some space, allowing yourself to lie on the ground. I'm going to bend my knees. You don't have to. You can extend your legs out long. That is totally fine. Just got a wall in front of me, hence why I've got my knees bent. Just notice how you feel. Our rebounds in yin are so important because we are working with the connected tissue and the fascia. This structure runs all through our bodies. It lies underneath the muscle, and when we are stressed and tense and agitated and tight, then all of this area locks up and we feel rigid in our bodies, we feel stuck and not much moves very well. Yin allows us to send a neural message from our brain to the area that we're working to slowly loosen its grip and let go. And what we practice grows stronger. When you feel ready, gently coming up, we are moving into a forward fold. So our liver meridian actually runs down the inner thigh, and that's what we're working with in this practice. So of course in traditional Chinese medicine, yin yoga is based in and around the 4 seasons, okay? And as I said, the spring season is associated with the wood element, which is of course the liver and the gallbladder meridians. And our liver, of course, when our liver is not well, it's like our battery, and if we are overloading it with stress and toxicity, then that's when we start to fall apart. So it's so important. Now in this straddle forward fold, if this doesn't suit you to fold forward like this into a straddle, please slide yourself up against a wall and let your legs come out into a big V on the wall, or slide your bum onto a cushion so that you're supported here. I'm going to turn on my side so you can see what's going on with my spine. Now please use a bolster or a prop or whatever it is that you have in front of you. You might even need to hug it like this depending on how tight your adductors are, your inner thighs and groins. So we're going to be here for a couple of minutes in this pose. Comfortable is not what we're looking for. It should feel uncomfortable but not painful. We are not forcing. So I want you to take a deep breath in, and on your exhale just gently start to fold forward. My hands are soft. My body is soft, my shoulders are soft. I'm not holding any tension anywhere. Let go of the need to be further forward. Again, it's coming back to that practice of being totally okay with where we are at right now in this moment without the need for more. And when you can live a life like that in this space of presence, you know, you're in a beginner mind constantly because you're being curious, not critical about your body, about the environment, about the person who's in front of you. When you can see people in your environment and yourself for the first time, your lover, your partner, your kids, it's a brand new experience every single time. And that can be so powerful. It takes away the judgment, takes away the criticism, and you land into this beautiful, curious space as to go, wow, I wonder what experience we can have in this moment. So just letting yourself now land into wherever you have landed, shut down your eyes, and I invite you to come back to your breath. Please don't worry what I look like. It is about what it feels like in your body. Shut down your eyes and let yourself receive. The wood element, of course, essentially is like a grounding down for us. It's our connection to the earth, our connection to ourselves, and our ability to remain present in every situation so that we can make good choices and move forward. When we feel this disconnection to this element, we feel overwhelmed, we can't sleep, we are exhausted, we're making poor choices, we feel ungrounded, and we're constantly on the busy train.
when we are constantly doing rather than being, then our liver and our gallbladder are constantly on. They're working so hard to keep us regulated. But if we are feeding our bodies with toxicity from food, toxicity from alcohol, toxicity from social media, toxicity from newspapers or the news, then our bodies are going to be stirring up gunk, and the liver has to fight extra hard to try to clear out our system for us to be well. And that's where we feel exhaustion. That's where we feel frustration. And that's where we feel anger. And anger and frustration are the emotions that are linked into this liver and gallbladder meridians and the wood element. So we know that if we are feeling these emotions and they are presenting and we can't catch them, then our liver is unbalanced. It's not healthy, it's not well. It needs your attention, it needs you to slow down and nurture your garden. To come back to presence, to come back to looking after yourself, to come back to putting yourself first. We have 10 more breaths in this shape, everyone. Give yourself permission to completely let go. Don't force it, just let it be what it is. Enjoy 3 more breaths here. That last exhale, please take your time. Engage your belly to your spine and ridiculously slow. Use the strength in your arms to very, very slowly peel up one vertebrae at a time. There is no rush. If you come up to seated, I like to wait a moment. And we're actually just going to do a little release through the hips here by bending one knee and bending the other, placing both soles of the feet on the ground, and then just keeping the feet hip distance apart, starting to knock the knees to one direction and then the other. So from the front, it looks like this. So a very, very, very slow windshield wiper here. Might even shut down your eyes. Perfect. Beautiful. So from here, we are actually going to come into a modification of shoelace pose. So when we come into this pose, this again can be really intense on the hips, and I did warn you, but emotion gets stored in our sacral chakra. It's the second chakra. I will actually be doing a little workshop in the chakras for those of you who are interested, a 2-hour workshop after the foot workshop. So tension and emotion will store here in our hips. So you'll get pain and tension in your low back, have problems with your digestion, constipation, problems with your sexual organs or low sex drive, problems peeing, problems pooping,
and of course really tight hips if you are storing onto emotions and if you are clinging to things that have happened or things that have been, or if you are resisting and pushing down and suppressing emotions. That's when we store shit in our bodies. I really dive into that a lot in my book, What's Your Language? So it's a conversation for another day, but just understand that that's where our emotions hold. So what we're going to be doing is coming into this shoelace pose. Now, for some of you, it might just be simply crossing your legs like this. So we're actually going to bring the left shin in front for this pose today, and you're going to need a block on the left side. So this might be more than enough for you guys with your hips. Again, you might want to sit on a cushion. For those of you that are comfortable with shoelace, we're going to be bringing that left knee on top, but both of my sit bones are on the ground. That is really, really important. So already getting this internal rotation into the hips. The block is on the left side and my left leg is on top, okay? Whether or not you're cross-legged or not. Now, my hips are pretty tight at the moment. I've been doing a fair bit of press handstand work and I'm definitely feeling it through my hips. And also emotionally, it's been a big fucking couple of weeks, and you know, it's just about feeling it and letting it in, not pushing it down. So we're going to place the left elbow on the block. So you might need the block on the highest height, middle height, or lowest height. And as we do that, this right arm is going to go behind and we're going to tuck our fingertips into our yoga pants. So that way it's starting to open the front of the delt. All right, and of course, when we are holding on to stress, what happens with our shoulders? We close. You add devices on top of that, so phones, computers, driving, and any tension, we are then closing off our heart. So this is a really beautiful pose for so many reasons. We're getting lateral flexion down our right side of the body into the intercostals, into the ribs, and of course into the obliques, and compression onto the left, whilst also getting internal rotation in our hips. We're also getting a juicy stretch down the SCM muscle and into the upper trapezius. So close down your eyes here and just breathe. We're not here for too long. Try to really ground down those sit bones. So the average Western human, and these stats were taken a while ago, it has been proved that we can be in a stress state up to 150 times a day. So when we are in our fight or flight mechanism, right, our survival state, our sympathetic nervous system, that means that our digestive system is not working, right? It temporarily shuts down. So if we are constantly living in fear, if we are constantly living in anxiety or worry or doubt of what the future holds, or if we are living in the past of thinking what I should have said, could have done, or would have done, then we are not living in the present moment and we are keeping our body stuck unnecessarily. So we're going to have huge problems in our digestive system, and it means our liver and our gallbladder are not going to be able to do the work that they are meant to 100% capacity. So our gallbladder is responsible for the transportation of bile, and if that doesn't happen, that means we dry up. And of course, when we dry up, nothing moves, so things get stuck. The liver on overload, and especially if we are constantly in that fight-flight state, we are just constantly pressing on the amygdala, which lies near the hypothalamus in our limbic region in our brains, and it is just constantly on and being triggered. It is looking for fear. Why? Because we're training it to, right? That's the neuroplasticity. What we practice grows stronger. So it's up to us what we choose to give our attention and energy to. When shit unfolds in front of us and it's uncomfortable, sit in it. 99% of the time, it's not going to kill you, but it will be uncomfortable. So just say the words, this is uncomfortable right now. I'm really struggling. This is really hard. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling fear. I'm worried. And just let yourself be in the emotion. The emotion only lasts for 90 seconds. It's the energy and the fire that we give to it that then turns it into a story. Guys, we have 1 more minute on this side. The more we keep fueling our stories and hanging on to the past or worrying about the future, the poor liver is just in this fight or flight state, and of course it starts to become overworked and overwhelmed, and our bodies then can't clear out toxicity, and that's when we start to get sick. Taking 3 to 4 beautiful breaths down that right side of the body. Just letting go. Letting it be what it is. Breathe in. Breathe out. Very, very, very slowly. Whoa. Come up to seated. Unravel here. Oh, beautiful. We're simply going to extend that left leg out long. Coming to a half butterfly pose here. Now for some of you, you might need to turn your torso to that left leg. For some of you, you might need to put a bolster on the inside of that left leg and fold over. For some of you, you might prefer to do something like this. It's going to be your choice. So right foot on inner left thigh, and we're just coming down here for about 10 breaths into your version of half butterfly. So if you need to, please rotate your torso and fold forward over the leg. But if it feels okay for you, you can bring the left hand on the inside of the left ankle, and we're opening up again that right side of the body, and we're just going to breathe. If this is uncomfortable or it's causing you pain, then don't be here. Take the other variation. Try to soften. One more minute to go only here. Two more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Super, super slowly come out of that. Just pause for a moment. Come down to your backs. We're going to rebound from those two shapes. So lying down straight onto your back. Allow yourself to receive, to notice what it feels like to have this nutrient-rich blood moving into, possibly areas that are tight or rigid or, tense, that, we're getting this beautiful release of hyaluronic acid into these areas as well. So it can feel tingly, it can feel a bit loose. And this is why coming down into our rebound is so important. So we can actually let the connective tissue and fascia reorganize itself. When we work into these areas, it's kind of a bit like a gummy bear snake. It kind of stretches out and we create space. But when we finish the pose, it's got to take some time to reorganize and come back to structure. That's why it's so important to rebound and to move slow in any yin yoga practice. Very, very slowly, we're coming up. There's no rush. Then we're going to find our shoelace pose on the other side. Now this time, of course, it is the right leg in front. So for some of you, that might just be in a seated position. For some of you, that might be into shoelace position. For some of you, you might be sitting onto a cushion. This practice is not linear. It is not aesthetic. It is about how it feels in your body, right? Again, when we come into the pose, we're looking for like 60%, or we come to find our edge and we don't push past that. So from here, the block goes over to the right side. And again, depending on how tight your hips are, you might need to adjust it on whatever height. The forearm comes down, and straight away I'm feeling this into my left outer hip, big time. And the top arm, which is our left, is going to go around the back and hook into your yoga tights, so that it should start to open the front of the delt, down the SCM muscle, the top of the trapezius, and getting this beautiful lateral flexion down the left side. Shut down your eyes and breathe. Let go. In traditional Chinese medicine, they speak on a hierarchy of the organs in the body. You know, they talk on the heart being the emperor. So the heart is the housing for our Shen, our spirit, which is who we are and our soul, which is what we should always be coming back to, especially in these times. They talk on the lungs as the prime minister of the system. They talk on the spleen and all around our digestive organs as the minister for food and grain. They talk on the kidneys as the minister for the waterways. And of course, they talk on the liver as being like the master organ, right? The guy that kind of looks like the general of the organs, kind of in charge of everything. So if our general is, you know, not feeling so great, or feeling a bit scattered or overwhelmed, or has just been on the busy train for months, sometimes years, we're not going to make good decisions. And, you know, the general itself doesn't really want to go to battle in a war, you know, wants it to be to send out the troops and to have things operating smoothly and well. But the general wants to keep everything in flow. And if we are constantly doing and on that busy train, then it's going to be messy. We're going to send out an army that's not prepared. We're going to send out into battle a body that is operating at 60% rather than 100%. And that's where we start to fall ill and become accustomed to inflammation, sickness, and disease. We are not looking after our internal organs, and we're constantly, you know, feeding our bodies with toxicity, whether that be external or internal. Then without cleansing it out, without pausing, how does it have a chance to clear out the shit, to come back to balance, to come back to equanimity? That choice is up to us. We've got 5 more breaths here, everyone. Breathe in. Breathe out. Super slow. It's going to be, you can feel like you're about 100 years old coming out of an internal rotation of the hips. If this is ridiculously tight for you, then it's a beautiful indication that you need to do this more, right? Whenever we find things that are stuck or rigid in our bodies, then that is the thing we need to practice, you know. It's so important for us to listen to that. So when we find things that trigger us or we're challenged in our environment, not just our bodies, that is where we need to do the work, not the stuff that's easy for us. So we're coming down to half butterfly. So again, either using a bolster on the inside of that right leg and folding forward, or coming to a half butterfly, right hand on the inside of that right inner thigh, inner calf, and maybe that top hand coming up and over, working for that lateral flexion. We're not trying to touch the toe. It's not about the reaching. It's just opening up this whole left side of the body, again into the intercostals, into the under armpit, and really opening up this inner thigh and groins of the right side as well, getting right into that liver and gallbladder meridians right here. We're not here for long. We've got about 9 more breaths. If it gets too much, back it off. Don't fight it. Like anything in life, if we find we're pushing things uphill, whether it be our work, whether it be a relationship, whether it be something we're working on, it's just not happening, it is not the right time. We need to stop watering that plant and put our energy and attention back into ourselves. Otherwise, we burn out. We get tired, we get stressed and overwhelmed. And that then pays a price on our bodies. 5 more breaths. Gabby Bernstein says, obstacles are detours in the right direction. Full breath in. Full breath out. Now slowly can you come up out of this? Oh, whoa. And again, coming down to our backs to make our way in for a rebound here. No rush to lie down. I'm going to come into teepee pose. Both soles of the feet on the ground and knock the knees together and just breathe. So we're just going to come into a bit of a counter pose. We've been forward folding a fair bit. So we're going to grab our block or your bolster and we're going to come into our recline butterfly pose just to get a little bit of an opening into the heart space. Now for some of you, you might like to place the block on this height. Some of you, if it's okay, you can have it on that height. If you do have 2 blocks, feel free to place one behind your head. Again, if you've got the bolster, you can actually lie the bolster lengthways, long ways like that. That's a really passive option. All right, but if you want a little bit more, then feel free to slide the bolster horizontal or use the block as we come into this delicious heart opener. So I'm going to place my block on the middle height. Today I really enjoy this shape, but that height's not for everyone. So again, it goes right across the space of where your bra strap might be, and we want the head to touch the ground. So basically, if we come into this pose and the head is off the ground, we need to place something underneath it to support it, all right, as we just allow ourselves to come into this beautiful heart opener here. We're only going to be here for about 10 breaths, about 1.5 minutes. So please feel free just to lower your block to the height that suits you, or lie back and recline on your bolster. The soles of the feet are together, the knees are apart. Again, don't force it. Give yourself permission to let go. Let your hands rest where they're comfortable.
Taking 3 more breaths. So slowly, if your head was back like mine, please use the strength in your hands and arms to lift the head to neutral. Pause. If you're on your bolster, you'll just roll to your side. For those of you with the head supported, I like to put one elbow down and then lift up the opposite foot, which will help me roll to the side. And then we're going to come down to the ground. As we move into our final shape, which is a twist, we're going to slide the bolster to the left hip. Right, so I'm on my left side, my left hip is on the ground. My right leg is going to go over the top of the bolster, knee bent or straight, depending on how tight your hamstrings are. And we're going to peel the right arm up and over, so the right scapula and shoulder blade is on the ground. If this is too much for you, remove the bolster and come into any version of a supine twist. Just let yourself melt now into this pose. It's a beautiful time now to reflect as we move into this beautiful season of expansion and growth. To watch your ideas flourish, your dreams come to life, and the goals start to unfold. The most important thing is to trust the process. The universe will guide you in every single step of the way. I invite you to let go of the wheel, to let go of the outcome, and to appreciate it in the now for what it is. In yoga, they call it a parigraha. If we are attached to an outcome, or if we are attached to how our lives used to be, you know, before all this lockdown, before all of wearing masks, before all of this, then we are constantly going to keep ourselves in a depressive state, thinking that when it goes back to normal, I'll feel good again. We need to let go of that. We are here now in this moment, and this is it. The same thing goes if we are clinging to what it might be when, you know, things change. What if that doesn't happen? Then again, we start to move into a depressive or an anxious state. So it really is about expanding into the now with what we already have, without the need for more. Appreciating what we have in this very moment, rather than what it used to look like or what we think it might be. Presence is the only place we can make a good choice from, where we can choose to be kind, where we can choose to radiate compassion and love, which is our natural state, where we can choose to continue to watch our dialogue, our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions, and our words to ourselves. If we are living in the past and living in the future, we are only living on autopilot, repeating the same patterns, behaviors, and actions that have got us stuck there in the first place. All we have is now. Take a breath in and a breath out. Let that top leg come over and just rest in a neutral position on your spine. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Sliding the bolster across your belly, and it'll of course land on the right side. Turn onto your right hip. Left leg goes over, and very, very slowly peel your left shoulder to the ground. Close down your eyes. Notice what it feels like to surrender, to actually just let go, to give yourself permission to not try to figure it out, To not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, how long we're going to be in lockdown. To actually just appreciate what today was. Whether it was challenging, whether it was frustrating, whether you were triggered, whether it was beautiful. At least you got to have today. Amazing. So spend these next 10 breaths in this immense gratitude of whatever unfolded in your day and say thank you. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the teaching. Thank you for the adversity to show up and show me what I need to heal. We need to use our triggers as our teachers. Get curious, not critical, about the things that unfold in front of us. And know that whatever goes on in our environment, we always have a choice as to how we respond with compassion, love, and gentleness, or react in fear, aggression, or frustration. That choice is entirely up to us. Rumi said, "Be the light that you wish to see." It is now more time than ever to be the light we wish to see in others, our partners, our work environment, our community, and of course our kids. Take a breath in and a breath out. Unravel those legs. And I invite you to actually come up to seated to finish today. If you would prefer to sit to lie down, I invite you to do that. But we're going to do some breath work to stimulate our vagus nerve. So our vagus nerve connects our gut and our brain. And it is from this place that when we breathe from our belly, we can actually send a message from our gut to our brain to tell us that we are okay. So when we are triggered in our environment out there, and it will happen, it's happening all the time at the moment, when we take a big deep breath in, we actually get this message called neuroception that shares a message from our bellies to our brain via the vagus nerve to shift us into our ventral vagal nervous system where we're calm, we are present, and we can make good, solid choices. 99% of the time we do not need to react. Reactivity is going to put our bodies and our minds into a state of stress, and that overuse of stress and the amygdala firing constantly to constantly put us in fight or flight is going to make us sick. So we're going to do 5 beautiful breaths here, focusing again onto this beautiful deep breathing right from our bellies all the way up to the base of our throat. And as we exhale, we're going to draw the belly into the spine. So full expansion here. Take a breath in. Let it go. All right, breathing in, huge breath for the count of 4. Hold it. Breathe out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, belly to spine, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, huge breath, 1, hold. Exhale slowly, 7, 6, 5. Get all the air out, 4, 3, belly to spine, 2, 1. Here we go, fully in. Hold. Fully out for 7. Inhale, 4. Hold.
exhale, 7. Last one, breathe in. Hold. Open mouth, exhale, go. Regular breath in and out. Take a moment to say thank you. Really thank yourself. Again, that quote from Lao Tzu, everything in nature is accomplished, yet nothing is hurried. We are the same. Nurture your garden. Water it, look after it, talk to it kindly. Don't rush it. Don't expect too much. Let go of the control. Everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Trust the process and enjoy the ride. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Oh, I always feel so amazing after yin. I hope that you do too. Hey Kieran, thank you so much for jumping on, sweetheart. Yin really changed my life. It really helped me pause, and I was a person that never ever paused. I never ever thought that I could do that. You know, I walked out of my first 4 yin classes because my mind was so busy. And now it is, you know, all of you know I love my handstands, I love to play, I love to get outside, but this grounds me. It really brings me back to presence. And when I'm present, it means that I can be kind to myself. It means that I can really pay attention to the words I'm speaking, pay attention to my actions, pay attention to my habits and my behaviors. And that's where I'm continually growing. I most definitely am feeling the heaviness of the world at the moment, the emotions, but I'm really choosing not to take it on board. And I'm really asking myself in every single moment, do I really need to dive into this? How is this going to make me feel? Is it worth my energy and attention? And 99% of the time it's not. So I'm just coming back to doing the best that I can do, because when I'm the best that I can be, I know I'm giving permission for other people to do the same. And you are exactly the same. That's how it works. We are all here to vibrate high. We are all here to be the best version of ourselves. Not one of us is exempt from doing that. We are all here to share light to others. Not one of us is higher or lower than another. And this is this sense of oneness that's being lost at the moment with this separation. It is just about coming back to humanity as a kind and as who we are, to support each other, to nurture, to not judge, and to respect each other and to look out for each other. That is who we are at our core as a human being. So thank you so much, everyone. Again, if you enjoyed this, let me know on the comments how you found it. And if you're watching this back as a casual, again, all the details are in the about section anyway. But if you'd like to join me for the 6 live classes a week, then again, the details are in the about section. I'm grateful